Back again to unpack and celebrate the cultural journey of our Pacifica sports people all over the world. One thing that not only an athlete has to deal with, everyone has to deal with, depending on your level too, is feedback.
Feedback.
Good and bad.
So,
like criticism, especially in this day and age with online. So how do you handle it as a young athlete? I mean, let's talk about you and how you handled it.
And it's not even just young athlete, anyone.
Yeah.
Any athlete. Well, I think when you're an athlete, you become a lot more...
Profile.
Yeah, you get a profile, but you become, it's more, you're an open target.
Yeah.
Because everything is scrutinized about everything you do. The way you walk, talk,
everything,
laugh, pass the ball, tackle. If you make 40 tackles in a game and you miss 2, they're bringing up the 2 missed tackles.
Yep.
So it can be really hard.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have struggled with it. I know a lot of people that have just switched off online, which I think is, I don't know if that really works. If you just cut it off because it's still going to be there, you haven't it's almost like you haven't dealt with it, or you haven't got a mechanism to deal with it. Where some people turn it into a joke. Oh man, I missed 2 tackles. Oh, you should have seen the other 4 I missed. You missed it. You know what I mean? Like you flip it and make it a bit more comical, which is probably a Pacific trait that we all have anyway, that we can sort of roll with.
Coping mechanisms, eh?
Yeah.
About me turning into a joke, especially for our people. But did you get any? I mean,
when I finished playing,
because you got your good and your bad feedback, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're not very good at taking on really good feedback.
Yeah.
Like you said, you do 40 tackles, which are really good.
Yeah.
You missed 2. The focus is on the 2 that you missed. And as people, we tend to zone in on those 2 that we missed as well. So let's talk about what happened with you.
Well, that's a negative, right? So it's like a couple of things. I remember I was just thinking of negative feedback. Like I remember a few years ago, actually, you might remember, I was on tour. We were on tour. And there was a little bit of an incident, right? Bit of a fight. But it wasn't really a fight. It was like a boys sort of thing, right?
I don't remember that one, but I do remember something else. You bring up that one.
No, because it was like, because everyone thought me and Toops, right? Me and Clinton had a fight, but we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, and I didn't realise, but back here, because we were on tour in England, in New Zealand, Australia and all that, it was off season, obviously, so they needed content for media. Yeah. So they blew it up into this big thing, right? And I remember my wife, Saad sort of going, they got you in the paper here and it's got a big this thug or something like that. It's probably still online somewhere, and had a big picture of me. And I'm like, what for? And they're like, oh, it says like there was a scuffle or you got to a fight or something like that. And I'm like, oh man. I said it was nothing. But it was just, that was how the media ran with it.
Yep.
And I think if, like for me, it's sort of, I knew, it was like, it was nothing. But everyone else in and around it, like that gets impacted, the families or your partners or even the kids.
Yep. Well, if she was the one that
was
told
just me
you
in
about
charge.
it.
Yeah, that's right. And I didn't even know.
Yeah.
But so I think there's a lot of stuff when you're online now, like it's all around the world, And I said this to someone the other day. I don't know if it was you. It was like if you have a bad day at work, like say you have a bad day here, right? These guys will know about it. Or say Nick has a bad day at work, right? Our cameraman, right? Everyone here in the office knows and his family knows. If I have a bad day at work, the whole world knows. If you're an athlete.
Yeah.
So you can get scrutinized from people in Egypt.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, these guys don't even know the game. So it's like, but, then there's also the business of online trolls that try and catch athletes to make comments or people with public profile, or your paparazzi, TMZ type stuff.
Yeah.
To try and get a story. Because that's business.
How do you deal with all the negative feedback I give you?
I don't listen to it. I'll block it out. I told you.
Do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to? But the good thing about me is I'm honest with you.
You know what, mate? He's a big, just in one and out the other, mate.
I tell you where you stuff up, eh? Yeah. Did you get any feedback? I brought this up with you ages ago. And this is one thing I remember from you when you were playing at the Warriors. Early.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you could play basketball and rugby league at the same time. You know where I'm going?
I know where you're going. States play basketball that same game.
So I hope that we can get the footage as I'm talking. So Nigel's running down the wing, down the right flank. I think he's making a break.
Oh, it was.
And then he comes under the posts, and he's got all this, ball in one hand, and coaches never tell you to hold the ball in one hand, right? Never tell you to do that. Ball in one hand, comes around the post, middle of the post, goes to put the ball down, and then he decides to dribble it. He's bouncing the ball.
I remember that. I do remember that.
And you bounce the ball.
It was against Manly.
So did you copy any stick?
I'll tell you the story. So our coach, who was our coach at the time? Can't remember.
Did you copy any stick for it?
Yeah. But it wasn't that bad. Like, we still won the game. You know, I still stuffed up, dropped the ball over the line. But what happens is, I'll show you, because in the end goals, in the league, you can have it between 5 and 10
That
meters.
doesn't matter.
No, I'll tell you, this is it.
It doesn't matter.
You can adjust it, right?
Yep.
So what our coach did, because the other team had a good kicker in their team, like short kicking game.
I'm just blocking everything you say.
He said, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's pull the end goals in and make it 5 meters, not 10. So there was 2 lines there. The old line, which they just painted green to look like the grass, and the new line. So when I come around, and we had that old line for weeks and weeks before. So when I come around, I thought, okay, sweet, I still got plenty of space. Then I saw the new line, went to rush and put it down and basketballed it. Right? But you know what else? I thought, I was pretty, you're just trying to look for...
trying to be cool.
You're just trying to hide somewhere on the field. But then I reckon about 20 minutes later, Stacey Jones. And because Stacey is the darling of New Zealand Rugby League, right? Everybody loves him, he can't do anything wrong. And I thought, okay, sweet. Because Stacey's done it, then they'll let me off the hook.
No.
But if he didn't do it, and then I would have been probably.
I don't even know why you're trying to explain it, because no one cares.
That's what happened.
But no one cares about the 2 lines, whatever. It's the fact that you were trying to play basketball.
But I think I was actually pretty. I don't think I copped that much, or maybe I didn't listen.
Well, maybe you didn't listen. Maybe you weren't a target as a lot of players are these days. I'm talking about in all sports, not just rugby league, because the targeting and social media wasn't on fire as it is now.
No.
So players have got to deal with the comments that come through.
Yeah.
And do you believe a lot of the players when they say they don't look at comments?
No.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I think everyone does.
Yeah, I think and it's human nature, right?
Yeah.
And I think from an athlete's perspective, you're always trying to improve. So whenever you have a game, right? If you say you made 50 tackles, but you missed 2, every player is looking at the 2 to see how they can stop it, right? So it's a natural sort of athlete sort of reaction to always look for improvement. So when you sort of get a lot of these comments, and you might have 100 comments that are positive and 2 that are negative, those ones sit with you more naturally. And I remember I did some stuff with this mental health group a little while ago when I was working behind the scenes in the game. And they said that for every negative comment that a human receives, you need 7 positives to bring it back to balance. So if you think 1 negative, or you need, like if someone says, you're fat, and then someone else says, you're not fat. And you go, yeah, but I really am fat. No, you're not fat. No, you're not fat. No, you're not fat. You're not.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And now it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm not. But you need 7 positives for every negative. So if you think about that, that's actually quite challenging from just a human nature perspective to try and overcome. And then if you get that as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, trying to navigate that space on top of trying to be the best that you can be, and all the other sort of bits and pieces that come with trying to survive the environment, it's tough when you get criticised, and usually from people that don't know the environment, or really don't care about you. Really, they're just trying to sort of throw a line out there, and just try and sort of get a comment or just get a hook or something. Yeah,
it's a pity that there are people out there, keyboard warriors.
Well,
but there are. Yeah. If everywhere in anything. And yeah, you're right. As a young athlete coming through, it's really hard to deal with. But it is something definitely that you have to deal with. Do you think it's different for us as Pacific people, because we're surrounded? The community is very important to us, and the community lifts us up.
Yeah.
And so when the community lifts you up, it's a very positive thing. So we're surrounded by positive energy a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And then you get this negative energy that comes in the form of online criticism. And you're saying for every 1 negative feedback, you need 7 to offset it.
Yeah.
I think that's more with our people. I just think that, for me anyway, I'm always going to zone in on that negative. I don't want to. I know I know not to.
Yeah.
But you're always going to sit on that.
Yeah.
That one comment that comes through. I've learned to deal with that a lot better now. Even in the industry that I'm in, it's pretty harsh sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't mind sharing this right now. Like, I've been at a few radio stations, and I thought coming to the station that I'm at now, I thought I'd be okay with the criticism. But our people here at the Christian station that I'm on, and I'm saying everybody, not everybody, but there are some people who listen to the breakfast show that I'm on, and are very quick to throw judgment, very quick.
Yeah.
It's hard to take, but for me, I'm a lot better now. Maybe it's a maturity thing, but maybe it's down to my faith as well. That I just go, no, it's just part of the gig, because everyone where I'm at, you. How do I say this? You're. I don't know how to come around this. I'll come back to that actually with the faith part of it. I'll come back to that.
You reckon? Did you? Like, I wouldn't expect it as much.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Like, if you're thinking, like, if I'm, from now, like, I don't work here.
Yeah.
But like, if you think, oh, listen, it's a Christian station or it's a church, faith-based sort of organisation.
Yeah.
You'd expect that, but you'd expect it to be the standards to be a lot higher, right? Or maybe not the standards, but you'd expect.
There's a little bit of grace. You expect there's a lot of a bit of grace, because that's in the eyes of.
What do you mean by grace?
Well, forgiveness, because there should be a little. You should allow for grace for people who's on radio and in the media.
Just accepting them for who they are.
Accepting them for who they are, but there's also a line that, because we're in a privileged position to be where we're at, you're also a mouthpiece for. The values that you uphold, that you should uphold as a Christian broadcaster.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. And there have been times that I've missed my spot.
Yeah.
But like any human being, you make mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like, from a Christian audience, sometimes I feel like, well, you're human too. You've made mistakes as well. You should allow me some grace.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
But,
which is fair enough. You'd expect.
From my end or from their end?
Well, no, you'd expect both ends to sort of.
Yeah. You'd expect
to understand it.
To understand that. That's my expectation as well. But people are people.
Yeah.
And that's why we're human.
So
they hold people in this environment to a high regard. Just like athletes.
Yeah, that's right.
Hold them to a high level.
Yeah.
So your expectation is you have to be good.
Yeah.
All the time, or you have to follow that moral compass all the time.
Yeah.
But we're humans, man.
That's right.
We make mistakes.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen all the time. And so I put my hand up and I take accountability for where I'm at. Yeah. But I also feel like, come on, man. Yeah. You're Christian as well.
I'm just trying to do my best out here.
I'm trying to do my best. You're Christian as well.
Yeah.
And you're listening to a Christian station or Christian. Have some grace, because you've made mistakes as well. Yeah. So anyway, we'll come back and we can unpack that a little bit more around faith.
Well, I've got one question on that.
Oh, yeah?
Do you reckon then that, because a lot of Pacific countries are really strong in their faith, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of that. So you spoke before about, if you think like, one negative and you've got 7 positives to try and equate it, but you think it's more in Pacific space, Pacific communities, then would that be more as well on top because of the religious and spiritual components of Pacific communities?
Yeah. That's what I said to you. I think
even more.
I think heaps more.
Yeah.
I just feel I feel like we zone in on the negative a lot more. And it's hard to say. I mean, I'm saying it from my perspective.
Yeah.
If you get one negative, there's a difference between negative and constructive, right?
Yeah.
But if you get a negative comment, I'm in on that negative comment. I'm a lot better at dealing with it now because I can park it. But I'll always remember it. I'm not going to focus in on it.
Yeah.
But I'll always know that that's the comment that came to me.
Man, I'm just remembering like growing up in church, like a lot of us grew up in the local, right, in the church and stuff. I'm just trying to think of when I was growing up in church and going there and all the different comments that were coming through right throughout the whole time I was there, positive and negative. But it's like, I'm just sort of thinking of what that was like and what we were just speaking about here, because I've never really thought about it like that.
I'd love to know, there's a lot of players in the game now who are really strong in their faith. And I think as a coping mechanism, if we're offering coping mechanisms for people to deal with online criticism, faith is something I lean into a lot. And I know for players as well, they lean into a lot, because for me, having your faith means that you've got someone in your corner.
Yeah.
Often when you don't have, when you haven't got that faith,
you feel you don't.
You feel like you don't, and you feel like you're running this game alone.
Yeah.
And so for me, having my faith means that comment or that negative online or all those online comments that are negative, whatever, I know that that's not me. It's not, I've got a God who loves me, and I trust in his plan, And I think there's a lot of players in the NRL, in rugby, in netball, who lean on their faith as a coping mechanism. I would strongly encourage people, if that's where I'm at. Like,
where so, and my wife sort of probably taught me this over a few years, maybe a lot of years, but it's like just when people say negative stuff about you, right, or they criticize or whatever it is, I've sort of learnt to sort of use it now as, okay, they're on that journey. Yeah. They're still trying to heal from something.
Yep.
So they're not really angry at me, or they don't really mean that about me, because I didn't even know this person. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm at that place now where someone says whatever they say, and it's like, okay, sweet, they're on their journey. They're healing from something else. So wish you all the best.
Well, that's
and
good.
then off. Because that's why I don't think. That's why I was just trying to think before about criticism, because I don't think I think it's like, okay, cool, I get it.
But
it.
You've got the emotional maturity to be able to deal with that and know that that's not on you, that's on the person throwing you the commentary.
I don't remember having it as a kid, or as a teenager coming through. But
I don't know the direct answer to that. I don't think there's any one answer to that. But obviously over time, you've been able to deal with it yourself. Yeah. But there are also some young people who find that very difficult to deal with, because they don't put the blame on the other person.
Yeah.
They don't go, well, that's your responsibility.
Yeah.
That's on you because...
that's right. They wouldn't... Yeah, I think a lot of people maturity. Would look at that age.
Yeah. If I go back to the faith thing and leaning on God to say, again, very similar to you, that's not on me, that's on whatever's happening around me. You get a lot of athletes, not even in the NRL, that around the world that lean on God as well.
Heaps.
Someone that springs to mind is Steph Curry. He plays for the Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
He writes Philippians 4:13 on his shoe.
Yeah.
I can do all things through God who strengthens me.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of players who put Philippians 4:13 on their wrist. And again, that's a coping mechanism. And when I see that, I'm very that makes me smile in my heart to know that they can lean on that, to know that they're going to get through whatever it is they got going on.
Yeah.
Through scripture, through prayer. There's going to be some people who listening to this right now who agree with me 100%.
Yeah.
And support that. And then there's going to be some people who are listening to me right now, listening to us right now, and thinking, well, I think I need a little bit more than prayer. And yes, I'm not saying you don't need more than prayer, or you don't need more than faith. You do need other things around you to give you that emotional stability. But what I want to encourage people as a coping mechanism for any feedback or any criticism that you get is to lean in on your faith hard.
Yeah, if you're strong in it.
Yeah,
or if you have it, right? I mean, is that why you and Steph Curry got the same haircut? Is that why you cut your hair like Steph Curry?
It took you long enough
to lean in there. But it's just having a person, right? Now, if God is your person, that's cool. But if that person isn't God for you, then it's just finding someone, right? Like a mentor or someone like that.
Mentors are really good.
Yeah, or just someone that you can just offload to, or that has got your back.
I think that's really important, right? I mean, did you lean on your coaches? I mean, you got coaches, you got your teammates, you got mentors, and I think all three of them are very, very important. But again, we've talked about this throughout the podcast. You've got to be a person who's able to initiate that in terms of communication, right?
Actually, I probably leant on older cousins.
Good.
More.
But you did.
I didn't lean on coaches at all.
But you did lean on somebody.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
And if you need to bounce stuff off it, and I remember growing up, like there was a couple guys, so my cousin Tom, Joe's older brother, he was a bit of the black sheep of the family. Actually, his older brother Rob was the black sheep, another black sheep in the family. But they were sort of...
You're pretty black too.
They were pretty... they were like...
nice real...
What do you call it? They were... they'd lived life.
Yep.
In a couple of different worlds.
Yep.
But could give me sort of life experience in different things, right? But then at the same time, there was another couple guys, Te Solomona.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Tatupu, they were older Samoan boys that were in the system.
Yep.
So I could watch them and bounce ideas off them, what was it like when coach... Actually, I remember I got... I just remember that story, right? So when I started the Warriors first year, and I'm there, 95, first year, all the hype and all the rest of it, right? Everything's going crazy in New Zealand, first professional team, da-da-da. Next year I'm there and we're doing pre-season and I get called up. One of the guys, so John Kerwin, JK, gets injured. Yeah. Right? So JK's come over from, great All Black and all the rest of it. Come over from rugby, jammed it in league for a bit, got injured. He was touch and go. Day before the game they said he's out and they pull me in. So I'm playing NRL, first grade, right? Making my debut. We're playing overseas in Australia. It's Easter weekend.
Yep.
So it's only early in the year. And I remember I'm on the bench and I'm nervous and I'm freaking out and I'm going, what the hell am I doing? I got my name wrong. And I'm on there and there's four of us and I feel these things on my back like this. And I'm going, Flip, what's that? And I'm looking around, I don't know what it is. But these little kids throwing Easter eggs. Those little chocolate ones? You get like a pack of 100? They're throwing Easter eggs. I'm like, shucks. And Joe was next to me, my cousin Joe. No, he was on the bench too.
They were just throwing
at you. And I was trying to kick him, just one Easter egg. He's on prop.
Were they just throwing it at you?
Yeah, just me. Well, I was the only one getting hit. I remember it and I was like, oh, flip. Anyway, someone got injured early because I'm on the bench and I thought if I get 5 minutes, I'm good. Right? Yeah. Someone got injured early and he had to get off quick. So they said, Nigel, you're on. And I'm like, whoa.
No prep.
No prep. And I had the tracksuit, but we used to have the zip that goes, like the one the one zip that goes all the way like down here. Anyway, the zip got stuck. So now I'm trying to go. And anyway, I get it off and I run on, right? Play the rest of the game. At training the following week, we're doing the briefing and, all the teams are in there, a couple of teams in there and the head coach is standing up. And he starts saying all this stuff and I wasn't really listening, as a young fella. And then, and he was talking about if you got to be prepared to get on and you got to have preparation and stuff and we get you on the field, you got to be on there, you got to be ready to go at all times. And I didn't realize, but it was a reference to me and my zip getting stuck because it took me a while to get over. Anyway, after the meeting, a couple of the senior boys, and I remember Dennis Betts, who was from England. Brandy, Greg Alexander. I remember them coming over, Steve Kearney, because they were all in the top team. And they were like, don't listen to coach, don't take to heart what he said, he was just trying to make you better, but don't do this. And I was going, oh, okay. And then another one come over, and they were saying the same thing. Oh, okay. And I'm thinking, what are they talking about? And then one of the boys was like, oh, sorry, they were just teasing you when your zip got stuck. And I was like, oh. But see, that was like a criticism that I just went in one ear and up the other. I'd never really sort of took it on board. I was already looking forward to the next session or the next day. And I think that's just a trait that I've always had where it's like, oh, man, surely there's, glass half full type stuff. Whereas you remember we were talking, you're a glass half empty guy.
No, I'm not a glass
half. You are.
No.
Look at it now.
Look, it's half full. It's half full right there. No,
but, I'm not. But I think I've always been that.
I'm a realist.
And that's helped me.
That's the difference. I'm a realist.
Well, which one is a real? What's a realist? Was that really half full, half empty?
But you know what? Back on that, I think that's really interesting because...
And I was 19 at the time, 20. Or 20, I was at the...
Well, because your personality is such...
Yeah, that was just a trait.
It's just a trait. But other people, if they were zoned in on that, but maybe that's a good thing when you can zone out and you're not even listening to somebody.
Man, you know what? I've seen people cry
Absolutely, man.
You know, the coach sort of jams you, especially if you're in the environment and you're trying to, like,
Yeah.
and I know.
So when was that? 1957?
This is 90, we were 95, 96, man.
So
this is the 90s, man.
But do you think things have changed for the better in terms of that feedback?
Yeah, I think because coaches' interactions have changed because they realise the importance of delivering messages, the same messages to different people.
Yep.
Now, I remember at the Warriors as well, actually even with other ones. So we had a lot of Australian coaches in the system, and they're trying to coach island athletes.
Yeah.
But if you sort of say to an island athlete, you know, you're effing this, you're effing that, you know, you're going to get out there and you're not doing this.
You're going to get a nice black eye.
Going, oh, I just want to punch you in the face. And it's only half time. You know what I mean? Which happened to one coach, you know, a few years ago. But it's like they have to change because it used to be my way or the highway. And a lot of coaches, I did a bit of study behind the scenes, right? A lot of, around all this stuff. A lot of the coaches in the Australian sports system, they used to go overseas to learn. So a lot of them will go to America.
Yep.
And in America, it's my way or the highway.
Yep.
As a coach.
Yep.
But if you don't like it, get out here. There's another 1,000 kids that want to play American football, basketball,
I think
tennis, whatever. And you know, all the colleges over there, they've got heaps and heaps that want to get into the system. So the mentality was, well, this is how I do it. If you don't like it, you know, beat it. And I think a lot of them brought it down here.
Yeah.
But for the Islanders coming through, that's not how we engage.
But,
and you know, it's threatening.
Yeah.
Or not threatening. Like the boys do a haka.
It is threatening.
Yeah, because they're like, remember these ones? Why don't you look me in the eye when I'm talking to you?
Yeah.
And it's like, because you only look people in the eye when you're going to punch them in the nose.
Yeah.
But that's an island thing.
Yeah. Things have changed.
For who?
Well, I would like to say things have changed in the professional environment for the better overall, because that's just not the way we respond. But I think it's really important, though, that you mention that, and we talk about that, because you got to give the individual the tools to be able to respond. If the coach is like that, right, you got to be able to say, well, this might come at you, where the coach is going to go, what's wrong with you? You know, I told you to zip off your jacket before you come on the field. Why did you have it zipped up for? You know?
Well, it was one piece, that's why. But you know what happened, right? It's like, or what's happening, it's the same with women's sports.
Yeah.
Because as a coach, there isn't, I don't think that exists anymore that way. Or, sorry, it does exist. I don't think it works anymore.
It doesn't work.
And I don't know if it ever worked. You know, you look at Phil Jackson. You know, Phil Jackson is Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls. No, that's Salah Jackson. You know,
yes,
Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
And you know, the last dance I was doing the doco. So he used to do a lot of meditation with the group.
Yes.
This was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he took a lot of that off the Native American Indians, right? And took a lot of that sort of stuff. And remember, he had Dennis Rodman in his team.
And Michael Jordan.
And Jordan, you know, and Pippen and all these sorts of guys. But he brought them all together through different techniques that worked for different, same message, just told differently to the individuals.
Yeah.
And I think that's the go.
Yeah, I think we've got better, or well, the industry as a whole has got a little bit better. I think there's still a ways to go with some people.
Yeah.
But there's also a responsibility on the young athlete coming through to be able to be aware and deal and cope with those. So you mentioned having good people to lean into, like you leaned into some of the senior players.
Yeah.
You didn't lean into your coach, which is, I feel like...
I don't know if you can.
Well, see, this is an interesting one, because I feel like as a young athlete, you don't necessarily need to lean into your coach, because you can find that mentorship or advice from other people, older people, like teammates.
Yeah.
But I feel like you still have to have... You should still be able to approach your coach to ask where you can improve. If there's constructive criticism coming your way, we're not talking about negative. Negative is not, you know.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's
cool. But there's constructive.
Yeah.
And when you get constructive criticism as a player, surely you should be able to go back to the coach and say, okay, cool. How do I get better, coach?
Yeah.
What do I need to do, A, B, C, to get better? You should be able to do that.
Actually, I'll correct myself. You can lean into your coach.
Yeah,
I didn't.
You should do, because you're wrong.
I didn't.
Yeah.
But I think because I didn't need it, because I had enough. No, because I had enough, not for the constructive criticism. That was always there. We had that every day. I remember we got one time and, coach was like, go cut your hair. And I'm like, what? Because I used to have dreads. And he goes, go and cut your hair. And I'm like, oh, okay. I won't cut my hair.
Good.
But it's like, I think you can if you don't have enough sort of, I guess, role models around you that you can sort of call into. And I know some guys actually just thinking about it, that their coaches become the father figures for them.
It's good.
So that works for them, which is awesome. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Actually, you can lean into the coach if that's the person that sort of will help guide you. One of the things that I've seen in our game through the league is that the coaches that survive and play the long game and last year after year after year, regardless of results, are the coaches that care about their athletes.
They've got a relationship.
Have a genuine care.
Yep.
And I know coaches that will go, you know what? All right, say we're having a catch up, I'm going to sign you, and they'll be like, to tell me about your family.
Yeah.
Tell me about your brothers and your sisters. Okay, what's mum do? Oh, how long they been there? When they come in the island? So what's your background? How many kids you got? Whatever, da. And they will go like this. And the last question will be, okay, so you want to play here? Yep. Okay, done. And I know conversations that have gone exactly like that, and then the guy signed to the club. One question about football and probably 100 about the person. And so that athlete goes, you know what? So this guy just asked me everything about
who I am.
Yeah. Nothing about, what lines I'm going to run, what plays I'm going to play, where I'm going to fit in the team, da. He just wants to know about me and how I can help you as a person grow. Because if you grow as a person, an individual, then, okay, sweet. All the rest is easy.
Yeah.
But if you come from a Pacific background and a non-Pacific coach asks you that, then you're like, man, this guy's really interested in, Samoa or, Tonga or, Tuvalu or Tokelau, I don't know you knew Sela was from Vanuatu. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then we're off and up, but it's like they cater for it and they accept it. And then as an individual, you go, you know what? Okay, sweet. I'm probably going to show up to training on time. This guy cares about me, so I'm going to give that respect back.
Well, the proof is in Wayne Bennett, Craig Bellamy.
Man.
Those guys have got longevity.
Yeah.
But I do want to sort of just finish this little topic around the player should be able to and should be able to approach their coach for feedback, right? They should.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're Pacific or not. But I feel like, and I'm going through this at the moment.
Or one of the coaches.
Or one of the coaches, whoever. You should be able to do that. You shouldn't, like if there's, if you're not playing, let's just say you're not playing First Div, you're not playing NRL, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing New South Wales Cup.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're playing exceptional. You feel like you're doing everything the coach has asked you to do. You need to do this.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're doing this, but you're not cracking the top side.
Yeah.
I feel like you as a Pacific athlete, or this is actually anybody, but if we're talking about athletes, you should be able to approach a coach and say, Coach, and it's all in your approach, right? You should be able to say, Coach, I'm doing ABC. What do you need from me to be able to crack this first side?
Yeah.
What do you need from me?
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe some of our young athletes, because of their nature, they just don't, because they can't open their mouths, they can't communicate that way.
Yeah.
But we should be.
Yeah, because a lot of our people don't want to challenge authority two-way.
It's not challenging.
You know what I mean? But that's how it's seen. Like you don't question the elders.
Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
It's not questioning.
No, I think you should get to a stage where you are comfortable approaching the staff, coaching staff, and going, listen, what can I do to make the team? I've done X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Right, it's got to work on ABC. Sweet, done, off.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's if you're going, well, listen, I'm doing ABC and X, Y, Z, and I'm still not in the team, to have that conversation, and it's like, but it does take a while to get there. Yep. Yeah,
well, that's about getting your network around you properly, right? To be able to encourage you to go, okay, you need to be able to communicate these messages. And I think, like, back to what we talked about right at the beginning, you need to lean into people to be able to cope with the criticism, to be able to cope with anything. You can't do it on your own.
Or, you know what, if you, like, say part of that journey could be, if you're not comfortable going to coach, you can go to a senior player in the team. Because you've always got some senior players, especially if you're a young one. Go to your captain or go to one of the other senior members, and and let them know, and then they can go on your behalf. Hey, I was having a chat with young Sela, and he's not sure why he's in there. Maybe you can have a chat with him. Okay, sweet. I'll pull him over after training. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's and that's that mentor sort of person or the senior figure in there that can sort of bridge that gap until you're comfortable knowing, after a year or two and you're in the system, you can go straight to the coach and no dramas.
Yep. Okay. What about our own people? Do our own people support us? You know what? What should feedback look like from our community?
What should feedback look like from our community?
Well, do our own people support us? Like part of we talk about the online commentary that comes through, the bad stuff that comes through. A lot of it is from our own people.
Yeah. I think for the most part, our people support us.
Yeah.
When you're rising to different heights and that sort of stuff.
I believe that.
I think for the most part, you're always going to get some, just like any sort of group of people, I guess you're always going to get some that have their own agendas and stuff. But I think I'd like to think for the most part that most of our people would be proud to see Pacific people thrive and flourish in whatever environment.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You know what I mean? There was a tennis girl, a girl played in tennis. I don't know if it was in the Aussie Open or the US Open, Island girl. I'm not sure what her background is. I know she's Islander. And people were making a big deal of it. They were all proud.
Yeah.
So it's like somebody succeeding. Yep. One succeeds, we all succeed.
Yeah.
I'd like to think the majority of them do. I know that a lot don't, and aren't as genuine. But I think that might be through their own, I guess, maybe selfishness. You know what I mean? Like their own sort of agendas to do other things. And it's like, well, listen, there's not room for two of us here, or there's not room for all of us. There's not enough to go around. But that's not a Pacific mentality also, There's always enough to go around,
Yeah.
Look at boxes of KFC chicken. There's always enough to go around.
Especially when you take some and hide them in the back for your own stuff.
You got the plate under the table, and you're telling the other ones to go get the other plate.
I think I agree with you for the most part. I think people are just passionate about what they believe in. Let's just use the Warriors as an example. People are just passionate about the team. Yeah. And when they feel like they're not reaching their potential, it's about everyone. It's about the brand, not necessarily about the individual. Although in saying that, man, some people can be mean, man.
Well, heaps of individuals get smashed.
They can be so cruel.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you recommend, do you recommend individuals biting back? Let's just say you get a negative comment.
Online, not like physically, yeah.
No.
yeah.
But online.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
But we see it.
Because you're hooked.
Yeah.
And I get some people, the frustrations, and I know some guys in the past, or some people in the past, players, guys and girls, they have jumped online and da-da-da-da-da. It just snowballs, But I think you've just kind of got to learn that if you come into this environment and it's a profile environment, or you become in the public eye, it comes with the territory. Yes. And if you accept that it comes with the territory, then I think you're better off. You'll understand how to better deal with it. But if you think, how many times I've heard, man, I don't, man, I just love playing league. I just come in here. I don't want to be a role model. And it's like, yeah, but you don't get one without the other.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to sort of be a role model, that's cool. Go play local. You know what I mean? Just go play local.
Yeah.
Don't play pros. Because it comes with the territory. So you have to accept that if you want to be in this world, that and that and that is attached to it.
Yep.
And you take all of it or none of it.
Yeah.
And I think once you accept that, and in any profile environment or public environment, same with you, right? If you're doing radio show, you got to be open to, okay, in the callers calling through, just let me know how you're feeling. This guy's mud. So they get him off. Who got you on there? You got to be open to that.
Dad, can you please get off the radio?
You know what I mean? But you have to be, because that comes with the territory.
Yep.
You're on live radio.
Yep.
So I think when you accept that as part of whatever world you're moving into and whatever it comes with, and you're comfortable with it, you'll be able to manage it a lot easier.
I think from that perspective, from the individual's perspective, he's going into a high profile or profile position. I agree with you 100%. I feel like you also got to have a mindset of, this is a really privileged position that I'm in. Like a young athlete who gets a crack, basically it's off their talent, definitely off their talent.
Yeah.
But there's also another kid who's maybe as talented as that person, but they were the ones who got chosen. So for me, and I'd like to maybe offer this to young athletes who are listening right now, and even to parents, you're in a privileged position where you are. And you should honor that position by being the role model and giving back to that position. Because there's so many more that are behind you that could have got your spot. And I also often say, no one is ever bigger than the game. No one.
Yeah.
So,
but you got to be grateful too, you know. And I think when you practice gratitude, so we started doing this a few years ago in the league, and I know a lot of athletes do it all around the world, right? And when you practice gratitude, you're grateful for what you have, not what you don't have.
Yep.
So if you're like in the second team and you're not in the top team, and you're like, I'm trying to crack the top team, but it's still pretty good here in the second team. I'm still going to do my best to crack it, but I'm still, glad that I'm still a professional. I've still got an opportunity. I've still got my tracksuit. I've still got this and that. You know what I mean? I'm still a full-time athlete, and I'm doing what I love. I'm getting paid to do this. You know what I mean?
I've still got 5 pairs of Nike shoes.
But we used to do it for a lot of guys that were injured as well. Yeah. Because it's like if you're out for the season and you're gone and it's round 1, it's like, oh man, I'm missing the whole year. Yeah, but you've also got a lot more free time now. So think about what you have, right? You've got more free time now to study, right? To do other things in life, to do more community work, be a part of the community, get connected with the fans and the sponsors, grow your brand. Like there's heaps of other things you can do that you couldn't do if you were still playing. Now, if you're playing, now you're still doing, so it's being grateful for the environment you're in, and that gratitude helps you deal with a lot of, all the arrows that are coming this way and all the, the darts that are coming that way from all over the place.
Really glad you said that. I couldn't agree with you more with the gratitude and the perspective. That's about perspective. Yeah. And again, I want to lean back into my faith with this one, because God's got a plan for everybody, and if you trust in it, there's scripture, there's Proverbs 3, 5, 6, which I lean into a lot. Trust the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. And always acknowledge Him, and He will make your path straight. Proverbs. P-R-O-V-E.
I got one.
So,
not a proverb.
But you lean on that. You trust the Lord that He's got you covered. He didn't want you to get injured, but maybe because of your injury, you're able to grow your brand, you're able to concentrate or focus on other things.
That's right.
Because maybe you're not quite ready to be able to I don't know, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You're not cracking first grade. It's all part of the bigger plan. And
that's right.
I'm really glad you said that, because that does come from a great, grateful heart to know that you're where you are through His grace. That's what I believe in, 100%.
Yeah, and
in His timing as well.
That's right. A lot of people say God's timing, right?
Yeah,
because they trust in it. Yeah. Well, they trust in Him, right? Or her, or whoever. They trust in a higher power that the plan's already mapped out. I remember a guy, one of my old sort of Sunday school teachers, passed away now. Rest in peace to the also living. But I remember he was always happy one time, right? And I was probably 15, 16 years old. And I said to him, "So how come you always happy?" And he goes, "I got nothing to worry about." I said, "How come you got nothing to worry about?" And he goes, "Oh, it's God's plan, not mine. Whatever happens, happens."
Yeah.
Why? So if you're worried, that means you don't trust in, the next steps. And I was like, "Oh, shucks, I never thought of it like that."
It's not easy. It's not.
Oh no, because it's human nature to sort of always, take all this stuff on. But
yeah.
if you can sort of get to a point where you're like, you know what, everything happens for a reason, and a lot of people call it fate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I drinking a coconut latte with Sheila? What's going on here? What's going on here? A coconut latte with a coconut. But it's just part of the. People call it fate, or people will call it, God's timing, or people will call it the universe coming together, or people will call it whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just, things will. It's just a flow of life, right? Things will just happen if you trust in that flow, whatever sort of you think that flow, whoever creates that flow. Then I think it makes life a lot easier and a lot more fun.
It does, but that's not saying that if you get an injury or things aren't going your way, you just wait because it's God's timing. You gotta work around that. You gotta say, okay, well, that's not happening for me over here. I'm not cutting it in first grade. I'm not making first division for whatever reason. Maybe you're injured or whatever. So how can I work hard and smarter to be able to make things come together?
Yeah, remember that dude, what's his name? Simba. You know that guy? Samoan
Mufasa's son.
yeah. He did the Broadway show. What's his name? Samoan guy? Or the island
Vince.
guy?
Vince Ihara.
Nah.
Nick R4.
Yeah, R4.
Yeah? Nick.
Sure, it's him. He played rugby.
Yeah.
New Zealand secondary schools.
Yeah.
Then got
In
injured.
Auckland. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw it somewhere. I read it
Yeah.
somewhere. I was watching somewhere.
Yeah.
And then became this big Broadway star.
Yeah.
But he was, I'm guessing, on the athlete's journey trying to be
Yes,
an
he
All
was.
Black.
He was.
But it's like, no. We've got bigger things in store for you.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just not, you can have an impact on the world here, or you can have a bigger impact on the world over there.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, it's just it's a mindset thing. I think that for athletes and people in general, if you start practicing that early, and we used to do gratitude, 3 things a day, just write down.
Yeah.
3 things, even if it's little things, is this half empty or is it half full? You know what I mean?
Did you pay for it or did you not?
So I'm thankful because it's half a glass of water there, and I'm grateful that it's free,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful that we can spend time together. 3 things, simple. You do that every day. Your gratitude, you'll start seeing a lot more around you that a lot of people miss.
It keeps you humble. Yeah, humility is a big part of. Well, we like to think across the board with our people. Humility is a big part of our makeup. Some maybe not so, if that it appears that it's not so much on the.
Who? Which one?
Huh?
Who? Which one?
Pardon me. But I think it does. It teaches you humility.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you 100%. So there's a message there to encourage our young athletes coming through that if it doesn't work out for you, if you're feeling like things aren't working out for you, lean into people that you trust, but also keep chipping away. It may not be what you intended your will to look like, but there is a plan for you if you keep chipping away.
Practice gratitude, man. Practice.
Well, I hope you do that one day.
Everyone in life.
If you do that one day,
I do it.
Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up?
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, that's us. Sick.
Da-na-na-na-na.